Have you ever wondered why people who work really hard and are really smart sometimes don't get ahead at work? One of the reasons is called cultural mismatch theory. When the organizational culture doesn't match the culture of the people within it, or it only matches one of the groups of people within it. My research has found that people from working class backgrounds who move into white collar environments, especially the more elite ones, struggle with a cultural mismatch because these organizations are normalized around upper middle class elite norms. For example, upper middle class and higher cultures really value individualism, while working class cultures value community. And this can show up as a conflict, and even from the first job interview of somebody saying we instead of I. We achieved this instead of I achieved this. And then if they're lucky enough to get through that, it can show up in the performance appraisal process with the same issue. And even throughout, like some people seen as speaking up in meetings, while a working class person might see it as showing off. And that's only one of the unwritten rules of work from my research. I have so far found 8. And the reason unwritten rules like this are an issue is because they do impact the organizational bottom line and the dynamics as a whole. We are in record low employee engagement for the first time in 10 years. And globally, that is estimated to cost us about $8 trillion. Even if you're not spending what Gallup estimates is 50% to 200% of each person's salary whenever you replace them with turnover, miscommunications due to cultural mismatches, as well as resentment for not feeling like they belong, is a reason for lower productivity, which means less money. One of the most common unwritten rules I encounter is the unwritten rule of indirect communication. A study by LinkedIn and Duolingo 2 years ago found that 50% of the 8 surveyed countries said miscommunications were part of the reason for lower productivity and having to start projects over. Time is money. An interesting thing is that in research on cultural mismatch theory in universities, interventions that help first generation students adjust to the culture of elite universities, the continuing generation students aren't held behind. Making unwritten rules explicit doesn't disadvantage the dominant group. It elevates the organization as a whole. It's not about choosing sides, it's about elevating all of your talent. Now, I mentioned 8 unwritten rules, and I just talked about the first one up there, the shift to independence, and there's all these other ones. So, how do you know where to start? Today, I have just released a quiz where you can go in and identify which unwritten rules of work are impacting your organization. You can take this as someone who is struggling with unwritten rules yourself, or as a business leader or team leader who is looking to help their team or business run better. Just go to the link in my bio, click on the Linktree link, and it's right there at the top. It's really short, it's about 4 questions. Once you know what your top pain points are, you can stop them from sabotaging you. The reason unwritten rules